Yesterday, this entire bogus voter fraud narrative from the Trump campaign that claims Joe Biden stole the election came to an incredible climax as Rudy Giuliani and other Trump lawyers held a press conference in Washington, D.C. that was beyond parody. First of all, Rudy Giuliani appeared to melt during the event. First, he was sweating uncontrollably, and then it looked like he was bleeding out of both of his ears. It actually apparently was melting hair dye. I mean, the optics of this are absurd. He had what looked like dried blood down the sides of his face. What reportedly was hair dye that under the hot lights in the basement of the RNC or wherever they were was starting to melt. The content was no more sensible. During the press conference, they blamed the following entities, in part, for stealing the election from Donald Trump: Democrat-run cities, Democrat mayors, Dominion voting systems. Here we go now. Cuba, Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, Nicolas Maduro, poll workers, election officials, and I'm probably forgetting some. George Soros, which we will get to. No good right-wing conspiracy is complete until you include a rich Jewish man in it. That's almost a requirement at this point in time. First, did they present proof of fraud? They did not. Just more complaints about circumstances. Take a listen.
Night, 700,000 or 800,000 in Pennsylvania. Somehow he lost Pennsylvania. We have statisticians willing to testify that that's almost statistically impossible to have happened in the period of time that it happened. But of course, that's just speculation.
Right. It is speculation. I'm glad Rudy acknowledges that. And it continued.
Which to any experienced investigator, prosecutor, would suggest that there was a plan from a centralized place to execute these various acts of voter fraud, specifically focused on big cities and specifically focused on, as you would imagine, big cities controlled by Democrats.
I don't know, guys. Big cities controlled by Democrats, starting to sound like shorthand for places with lots of black people, talking about Philadelphia and Detroit and others. Then, this is real, this is not a skit, Rudy reenacted a scene from the film My Cousin Vinny and then casually accused Joe Biden's campaign of committing crimes and fraud. Take a look.
Probably the closest they got is from here to the back of that room. We could do like a, did you all watch My Cousin Vinny? You know the movie? It's one of my favorite law movies because he comes from Brooklyn. And when the nice lady who said she saw, and then he says to her, how many fingers do I got up? And she says, 3. Well, she was too far away to see it was only 2. These people were further away than my cousin Vinny was from the witness. They couldn't see a thing. Now, I don't know. You're going to tell me that 60 people are lying? They didn't just tell me this. They swore under penalty of perjury, which is something no Democrat's ever done.
So this is probably a good time to talk about affidavits as evidence versus affidavits as proof. They talk about the fact that they have affidavits as proof that there was fraud. Really important to understand this. An affidavit is a form of evidence, which, much like testimony from a witness, could be admissible or not, depending on the specifics, depending on the court and the circumstances. Sometimes a court will say, okay, we've seen the affidavit. We need to bring in the witness to actually testify to this in court. And an affidavit, much like witness testimony, could be ruled out as hearsay or not. Okay, so the fact that affidavits exist, they claim is proof of fraud when it is not. Your affidavit may or may not be used as evidence. Your affidavit, much like testimony, could be considered by a judge or jury credible or not credible. Affidavits are not proof. All right. There are sworn affidavits about Bigfoot. What that means is that an individual is willing to testify to that. It doesn't mean that the testimony would necessarily be credible or proof of anything. Rudy then goes on to say that, listen, if you don't count Wayne County, which is where Detroit is in Michigan, Trump wins that state. Take a listen to this.
In won 80-20. So you see a change as a result of the election in Michigan if you take out Wayne County. So it's a very significant case.
Now, it just so happens that Wayne County has 1.75 million people in it, and Michigan's total population is 10 million. So what Rudy is saying is, if you do, for some reason, if you were to not count a county that has nearly 18% of the state's population, then the other candidate would win. Oh, okay. That's not how this works, though. That's a very strange thing to say. And then Rudy Giuliani says that they are looking at potentially trying to overturn the results in this long laundry list of states.
And we have a significant number of allegations in the state of Virginia. I don't know yet whether the number in Virginia will reach the number that can turn the election. In the states that we have indicated in red, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, we more than double the number of votes needed to overturn the election in terms of provable illegal ballots. All you got to do to find out if I'm misleading you at all is to look at the lawsuits.
They had a map up as well with those states in red. Delusional. Then in came Sidney Powell, who is another one of Trump's attorneys. And this sounded like a Sean Hannity monologue talking about take the country back because Trump won.
To know right now that we will not be intimidated. American patriots are fed up with the corruption from the local level to the highest level of our government, and we are going to take this country back. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to back down. We are going to clean this mess up now. President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America for the people who vote for freedom.
This is a lawyer, supposedly. Take the country back. Trump won by a landslide. This is insane. And then it got really wild. Another lawyer, Jenna Ellis, took the mic. And she started attacking the media for how they were going to report on this completely unhinged event. Take a look at this.
And I'm the senior legal advisor to the Trump campaign, and I'd like to just explain now where we've been and where we're at and what you can expect from this process. So what you have heard, I'm sure, in the fake newspapers tomorrow will be one of two things. Either there was not sufficient evidence that we've presented, or we spoke too long. Okay, so what you've heard now is basically an opening statement. This is what you can expect to see when we get to court to actually have a full trial on the merits, to actually show this evidence in court and prove our case. This is not a Law and Order episode where everything is neatly wrapped up in 60 minutes.
You know, another difference from Law and Order episodes is that Law and Order episodes contain actual crimes. We still have no evidence that any crimes took place here. And then when the questions started, Rudy Giuliani was still melting. The hair dye was just running down his face, looking like he had two ears that were bleeding. And then, of course, as I said, no good right-wing conspiracy theory is complete until you can include a rich Jewish man in it, which Rudy did during the Q&A portion of the event, talking about George Soros.
With a company whose chairman is a close associate and business partner of George Soros, the biggest donor to the Democrat Party, the biggest donor to Antifa, and the biggest donor to Black Lives Matter. My goodness, what do we have to do to get you to give our people the truth?
It always is a better conspiracy from the standpoint of the right. If you can pull in a rich Jewish man, it's a better conspiracy. And then Rudy Giuliani caps this off by saying, listen, none of us are engaging in fantasy, but Trump actually won Pennsylvania and Michigan.
I don't know what you need to wake you up, to do your job and inform the American people, whether you like it or not, of the things they need to know. This is real. It is not made up. It is not, there's nobody here that engages in fantasies. I've tried 100 cases. I prosecuted some of the most dangerous criminals in the world. I know crimes. I can smell them. You don't have to smell this one. I can prove it to you 18 different ways. I can prove to you that he won Pennsylvania by 300,000 votes. I can prove to you that he won Michigan by probably 50,000 votes.
No fantasies here, guys. Just Rudy claiming Trump won states that Trump obviously lost. Some say this is merely sad. Reportedly, Rudy is charging 20 grand a day to represent Trump. So if he's actually getting paid that, Trump has a reputation for not paying people that work for him. Rudy is making a fool out of himself, yes, but he's potentially being compensated quite handsomely. Parodies of themselves. How do you make a satire of that if you are Saturday Night Live? You can't. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm on Twitter at @Pakman. I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired Magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it, but I know you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.